Welcome back to Pocket Chang Coins, coin enthusiasts. Get ready, because today, we're diving into a coin that might just be sitting in your collection right now, a coin that could be worth a small fortune. I'm talking about the United States of America Roosevelt 1 dime from 1965. At first glance, you might think, it's just a dime, no big deal, but trust me, this coin is much more than that. Whether you're a seasoned coin collector or a casual enthusiast, this video will open your eyes to the hidden value of the 1965 Roosevelt dime, and you might be shocked to learn how much this seemingly ordinary dime could be worth today. Let's start with a little history to give some context to the 1965 Roosevelt dime. The Roosevelt dime series was introduced in 1946, following the death of President Franklin D. Roosevelt. The U.S. Mint chose the profile of Roosevelt for the dime to honor his legacy, especially his leadership during the Great Depression and World War II. Designed by John R. Sinek, the coin has an obverse side featuring Roosevelt's portrait along with the words, "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," as well as the year of minting. On the reverse side, the coin features a torch, olive branch, and oak branch, representing freedom, peace, and strength, with the words, "United States of America, e pluribus unum," and "1 dime" surrounding the image. The 1965 Roosevelt dime is an interesting piece of U.S. coinage because of the major change in materials used for its production. Prior to 1965, dimes were made from 90% silver and 10% copper, giving them a solid, heavy feel. However, due to rising silver prices, the U.S. Mint decided to change the composition of the dime in 1965 to a copper-nickel-clad composition, which contains only 8.33% nickel and 91.67% copper. This change was part of a broader move to reduce the amount of silver used in U.S. coins and was primarily driven by economic factors. The new dimes produced in 1965 and onwards are still made with this copper-nickel blend, which is far less valuable than the older, silver-containing coins. However, as with any major change in coin production, there was a small group of coins that didn't quite follow the plan, and this is where the 1965 Roosevelt dime becomes intriguing. While most of the 1965 dimes were made using the new copper-nickel composition, a very small number of them were accidentally struck with the old 90% silver composition. This minting error is what makes the 1965 Roosevelt dime such a treasure in the eyes of collectors. The silver 1965 Roosevelt dime, often referred to as the 1965 silver dime error, is an incredibly rare find. These coins slipped through the cracks during the transition year of 1965, and only a handful were ever produced. Because of this, they are considered one of the most valuable errors in modern U.S. coinage. If you happen to have a 1965 dime that has the silver composition, you could be holding on to a coin that's worth much more than its face value, but the story doesn't end there. As with any rare coin, the value of a 1965 Roosevelt dime is influenced by its condition. Coins that have been circulated over time are usually worn, with faded details, scratches, and discoloration. However, if you have a 1965 Roosevelt dime in near-perfect or uncirculated condition, its value could skyrocket. Coins that have been carefully preserved or kept in mint condition are far more desirable to collectors because they retain the sharp, clear features that make them valuable. If you've come across a 1965 Roosevelt dime in your collection, it's definitely worth taking a closer look. First, check if it's a silver error coin. You can do this by testing the coin with a magnet. Since silver isn't magnetic, the coin will not be attracted to the magnet if it contains the silver composition. If it's not magnetic, you might have a rare silver dime on your hands. Another thing to consider when determining the value of your 1965 Roosevelt dime is its rarity. These silver error coins are extremely difficult to find, and very few are in circulation today. The 1965 silver dimes were not intentionally produced by the U.S. Mint, and most of them were withdrawn from circulation when the error was discovered. The fact that any of these coins survived and made it into the hands of collectors is what makes them so special. Over the years, the demand for these rare coins has only increased, making them highly sought after in the numismatic community. Now, let's get down to the big question: how much could a 1965 Roosevelt dime be worth? If you have a 1965 silver era coin in excellent condition, you could be looking at a value of $55,000. That's right, $55,000 for a single dime. While most 1965 dimes are worth just a few cents or a couple of dollars, the rare silver eras can fetch a much higher price at auctions or from serious collectors. The reason these coins are so valuable is simple: they are incredibly rare. The U.S. Mint only produced a very small number of silver 1965 dimes, and even fewer have survived in good condition. For collectors, owning a piece of U.S. coinage history like this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and the rarity of the 1965 silver dime has driven its price to astronomical levels. If you think you might have one of these rare coins, it's worth having it professionally graded by a numismatist to verify its authenticity and condition. A well-graded 1965 Roosevelt dime could be worth far more than you ever expected. If you find a 1965 silver era dime, it's a coin you'll want to hold on to, as its value is only expected to grow as time goes on. To wrap things up, the 1965 Roosevelt 1 dime might look like just another common coin at first glance, but as you've seen, it can be a hidden treasure. With its unique composition era and the rare silver dimes that have survived, this coin holds immense value in the world of coin collecting. Whether you're new to the hobby or a seasoned collector, the discovery of a 1965 silver Roosevelt dime can be a game changer. So, check your change jar, take a close look at your coins, and who knows, you might just have a $55,000 dime waiting for you. Today, we're diving into a coin that you might have passed over in your collection without even thinking twice: the 1967 Roosevelt 1 dime. At first glance, this dime may seem like just another common piece of U.S. currency, but trust me, there's a lot more to this coin than meets the eye. Whether you've been collecting coins for years or are just starting out, you won't want to miss this deep dive into the surprising value of the 1967 Roosevelt dime. By the end of this video, you might just be looking at that little dime in your pocket with a whole new appreciation. Let's start with a quick refresher on the history behind the Roosevelt dime. The coin was first introduced in 1946, following the death of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who is best remembered for his leadership during the Great Depression and World War II. To honor his legacy, the U.S. Mint chose to feature Roosevelt's profile on the obverse of the dime, making it a permanent tribute to his service. The design was created by artist John R. Sinek and has remained largely unchanged since its inception. The reverse side of the Roosevelt dime features a design that's just as significant. It shows a torch, an olive branch, and an oak branch, symbols representing liberty, peace, and strength, respectively. The words "United States of America, e pluribus unum," and "1 dime" surround the image, completing the elegant and symbolic design. Now, let's get into the specifics of the 1967 Roosevelt dime. By the time the 1967 dime was minted, the coin had transitioned from its previous silver composition to a copper-nickel clad composition, which happened in 1965 due to rising silver prices. Starting in 1965, the Roosevelt dime was made with a mix of 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel, significantly reducing the value of the metal content compared to the previous dimes, which had been made from 90% silver. However, while the 1967 Roosevelt dime might seem like just another copper-nickel dime, it has a few unique features that make it interesting to collectors. While this year's coin wasn't struck with silver, it's still part of an era that transitioned the U.S. Mint away from precious metals, making coins from the 1960s and 1970s highly collectible. But there's more to the story here, as some coins from 1967 have made headlines for their surprising value. So, what makes the 1967 Roosevelt dime stand out in the world of coin collecting? To answer that, we need to consider the condition and rarity of these coins. As with all coins, the key to their value lies in the grade and preservation of the coin. Coins that have been kept in pristine, uncirculated condition are far more valuable than those that show heavy wear from circulation. For a coin like the 1967 Roosevelt dime, this can make a huge difference in how much collectors are willing to pay. over time, most 1967 dimes were heavily circulated, which means they likely show signs of wear, scratches, discoloration, and fading details. Coins that have been carefully stored or preserved in perfect condition, on the other hand, are considered much rarer. As you may know, finding a coin in mint or near mint condition can be quite the find, and for collectors, it's like striking gold. But here's where things get really interesting. While most 1967 Roosevelt dimes were made with the standard copper-nickel composition, some very rare error coins were produced that year. The most notable of these is the 1967 dime with a distinctive, minting mistake. Some dimes were struck with defects in the die, which resulted in unique variations in the coin's design or composition. These minting errors make the 1967 dimes incredibly rare and much more valuable to collectors. Whether it's a die crack, a misalignment of the design, or a slight overstrike, these imperfections can turn a regular dime into a highly sought-after treasure for the dedicated collector. A 1967 Roosevelt dime with one of these minting errors can be worth far more than its face value. Error coins like these are prized because they are one-of-a-kind and can never be duplicated. The rarity of these mistakes means they are often sold at auctions for incredibly high prices. The uniqueness of a 1967 dime with a minting error can dramatically increase its value, especially if it's been preserved in uncirculated condition. So, what is the price of a 1967 Roosevelt dime in top condition or with a rare error? You may be surprised to hear that some 1967 dimes have been sold for as much as $52,000. Yes, you read that right, $52,000 for a single dime. While this price is reserved for the rarest, most pristine examples or those with minting errors, it's a clear indication of just how valuable this seemingly ordinary coin can become when the right conditions align. If you happen to own a 1967 Roosevelt dime, or if you find one in your change, it's worth taking the time to examine it closely. Check for any minting errors or unusual features. Look for signs that the coin has been well preserved, and make sure to inspect it for any potential value-boosting characteristics like a rare die crack or misalignment. If you find that you have a coin that fits the bill, getting it professionally graded by a numismatist could be the first step toward unlocking its true value. In conclusion, the 1967 Roosevelt one dime may not have been made from silver, but it certainly packs a punch in the world of coin collecting. Its potential for rare minting errors, coupled with the fact that many of these dimes were produced in large quantities, means that finding a rare example in top condition could lead to an unexpected windfall. Whether it's an error coin or just an exceptionally well-preserved dime, the 1967 Roosevelt dime remains a coveted piece in the world of numismatics. So, next time you come across a 1967 dime in your collection, take a closer look. It could be worth far more than you imagined. Who knows, you might just be holding on to a rare coin that could bring you $52,000. Today, we're going to dive deep into a coin that might be sitting in your collection right now, and trust me, this coin could be worth a small fortune. I'm talking about the 1975 Roosevelt one dime. This might seem like just another dime at first glance, but you'd be amazed at how much value a single coin like this can hold if you know what to look for. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting to build your coin collection, you won't want to miss out on this important and valuable piece of U.S. history. The Roosevelt dime series has been a staple of U.S. currency for decades, and the 1975 issue holds a special place in the heart of collectors. First introduced in 1946, the Roosevelt dime was created to honor the legacy of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who passed away in 1945. As a prominent leader during the Great Depression and World War II, Roosevelt's image was immortalized on the coin, designed by John R. Sinek. The obverse side of the coin features Roosevelt's profile, with the words, "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," inscribed along with the year of minting. The reverse side shows a torch flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch, symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength. By 1975, the U.S. Mint had already moved away from the silver content that had been used in earlier dimes. Starting in 1965, dimes were made from a copper-nickel clad composition, which consists of 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel, a change prompted by rising silver prices. This move significantly reduced the value of the metal content in the dime, but the 1975 Roosevelt dime still carries great significance for collectors due to its rarity and the potential for valuable coins within the series. You might be wondering, what makes the 1975 Roosevelt dime so special, and why should I care about it? Well, the 1975 dime is not just another run-of-the-mill coin. Its value lies in its rarity, condition, and any potential minting errors. Let's talk about condition first. As with any coin, the value of a 1975 Roosevelt dime is primarily determined by how well it has been preserved. Most coins from this year, like any that were widely circulated, show signs of wear and tear. Over time, the coin's details can fade, the metal can tarnish, and scratches or dings can accumulate. However, if you happen to have a 1975 Roosevelt dime in uncirculated or near-perfect condition, you could have a coin that's worth much more than face value. Coins that have been stored carefully, away from the elements and potential damage, are considered much more valuable to collectors. This is where the 1975 Roosevelt dime stands out. Well-preserved examples are not only rare but in high demand, but there's another layer to the 1975 Roosevelt dime that makes it even more intriguing. As with many coins, there were occasional minting errors that occurred during production. These errors can range from minor misprints to more noticeable flaws like double strikes, misalignments, or missing details. A 1975 Roosevelt dime with a minting error could be worth significantly more than a standard coin, especially if the error is rare and well documented by numismatists. For example, a double strike error, where the coin was struck multiple times, can create a very unique and valuable piece for collectors. Now, here's where it gets really exciting. The 1975 Roosevelt dime, while not made of silver, is still part of a period in U.S. coin history where coins were transitioning from a more traditional silver composition to a more modern clad composition. This era represents an interesting turning point in the country's coinage, and collectors are always looking for high-quality examples from these transitional years. So, what exactly does all this mean for the value of the 1975 Roosevelt dime? Well, if you have a coin that's in exceptional condition or features a rare minting error, it could be worth a lot more than you might think. In fact, some of these coins have sold at auction for impressive amounts. If you've got a high-quality example of the 1975 Roosevelt dime, whether it's in near-perfect condition or has a rare error, you could be looking at a coin worth as much as $47,000. Yes, that's right, $47,000 for a single dime. Now, I know what you're probably thinking, how can a dime be worth that much? It all comes down to rarity and demand. The combination of a limited number of coins being produced, the condition of the coin, and any unique features it may have can dramatically affect its value. Collectors are always on the hunt for these rare, high-quality coins, and when a 1975 Roosevelt dime comes up for sale in top condition, it can fetch a price that might make you do a double take. If you're not sure whether your 1975 Roosevelt dime is one of these rare finds, don't worry. You can easily check the coin for any signs of wear or minting errors. Look closely at the design. If the details are sharp, the coin is free of major scratches or discoloration, and it doesn't show signs of excessive wear, you could be looking at a coin that's worth far more than just 10 cents. If you suspect your coin might have an error, take it to a professional coin grader to have it authenticated. These experts can assess the quality and rarity of your coin and give you an accurate idea of its potential value. To wrap things up, the 1975 Roosevelt one dime is much more than just another piece of U.S. currency. It represents an important era in the history of American coinage, and when found in top condition or with a rare minting error, it can fetch a price that would surprise even the most experienced coin collector. Whether you're holding on to one of these coins or you come across one in the future, it's worth keeping a close eye on its condition, as a well-preserved 1975 Roosevelt dime could be worth $47,000. Today, we've got something truly special for all you collectors out there. If you've ever thought that the Roosevelt dime is just a small and insignificant coin, think again. Today, we're going to talk about the 1974 Roosevelt 1 dime, a coin that could hold much more value than you might have imagined. You might have one sitting in your collection right now, and it could be worth a lot more than its face value. So, let's take a closer look at this fascinating coin, why it's so valuable, and how much you could be sitting on if you have one in pristine condition. The Roosevelt dime has been a symbol of American coinage for decades, but the 1974 version is particularly interesting. First introduced in 1946, the Roosevelt dime was designed to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt following his passing. The coin features Roosevelt's profile on the obverse, a design created by artist John R. Sinek. The reverse side, as you may know, displays a torch, an olive branch, and an oak branch, symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength. It's a simple yet powerful design, representing the ideals Roosevelt stood for during his presidency. By 1974, however, the Roosevelt dime had undergone some significant changes. Due to rising silver prices, the U.S. Mint transitioned from making dimes from 90% silver to a more affordable copper-nickel composition starting in 1965. The 1974 Roosevelt dime is no exception, made of 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel. While this made the coin less valuable in terms of raw material, it didn't diminish its worth to collectors. Coins from this era are still highly sought after, particularly for those in near-perfect condition or with rare features. Now, here's where things get interesting. The 1974 Roosevelt dime, like many coins, comes in varying degrees of quality. Some were heavily circulated, showing signs of wear and tear from daily use. Others, however, have been preserved in pristine, uncirculated condition. For collectors, finding a coin in mint condition is like discovering hidden treasure. The value of a 1974 Roosevelt dime can skyrocket depending on its preservation and rarity. Coins that have been kept in excellent shape, free from scratches, discoloration, or wear, can fetch prices much higher than face value. But it's not just about condition. There's another aspect that can significantly increase the value of a coin: minting errors. These happen when the die used to strike the coin doesn't work as intended, creating an anomaly in the design. Minting errors can range from double strikes to misaligned designs, die cracks, or even missing elements. While the 1974 Roosevelt dime may not have been as prone to errors as some other years, they still exist, and when you find one, it can make your coin far more valuable to collectors. These errors make a coin much rarer, and in the world of numismatics, rarity equals value. If you happen to have a 1974 Roosevelt dime with a minting error, you're in luck. These error coins are highly desirable among collectors. For example, a die crack or a misaligned strike could drastically increase the coin's value. When collectors see a coin with a unique flaw like this, they'll often pay top dollar to add it to their collection. And it's not just about the rarity of the error. Having one in excellent condition can significantly bump up the price. So, let's get to the exciting part. How much could a 1974 Roosevelt dime actually be worth? While a typical coin in circulated condition may only be worth a few cents above face value, the true value lies in coins that are either in mint or near mint condition or feature rare minting errors. A 1974 Roosevelt dime in top condition could fetch anywhere from a few hundred to several $1,000s. But here's the kicker: if you have one of these rare coins with a minting error or a pristine example, it could be worth a staggering $44,000. That's right, $44,000 for a single dime. You might be thinking, how could a dime be worth so much? Well, it all comes down to rarity, condition, and demand. Coins like the 1974 Roosevelt dime are part of a limited supply, and when collectors seek out the rarest and best examples, the price can shoot up dramatically. The key is to ensure that your coin is in the best possible condition, so take the time to carefully inspect it for any signs of wear or minting errors. If you think you found a valuable 1974 Roosevelt dime, you might want to have it professionally graded by a certified numismatist. A coin's grade plays a huge role in determining its value, and getting it authenticated by an expert will ensure you're getting the best possible price if you choose to sell. And if you're simply a collector, knowing the true value of your coin will only enhance your appreciation for it.so. To recap, the 1974 Roosevelt 1 dime might look like just another small, unassuming coin, but it could be hiding a significant value if it's in the right condition or features a rare minting error. Whether it's the scarcity of well-preserved examples or the unique characteristics of a minting error, this coin is a prime example of how the smallest pieces of currency can carry surprising worth. If you've got a 1974 Roosevelt dime sitting in your collection, it's time to take a closer look. Who knows, what might seem like just a simple dime could end up being worth $44,000. Today, we're diving into a coin that might seem pretty common at first glance, but trust me, it could be hiding a surprising amount of value. I'm talking about the 1991 Roosevelt 1 dime. This little coin might just be worth much more than you think, especially if you have one in the right condition. Stick around as we break down why this coin has such a special place in the world of numismatics and how it could potentially be worth thousands of dollars. First, let's start with some background. The Roosevelt dime series has been an iconic part of U.S. currency since its introduction in 1946. It was designed to honor Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States, who passed away in 1945. Roosevelt is remembered for his leadership during the Great Depression and World War II, and his image was chosen for the dime to forever commemorate his legacy. The obverse of the coin features a portrait of Roosevelt, designed by John R. Sinek. The reverse side displays a torch, olive branch, and oak branch, symbols of liberty, peace, and strength. By 1991, the Roosevelt dime had undergone significant changes in its composition. Following the rise in silver prices, the U.S. Mint transitioned from the traditional silver content used in dimes prior to 1965 to a more affordable copper-nickel-clad composition. Since 1965, dimes have been made of 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel, and the 1991 Roosevelt dime is no exception. This change made the coins less valuable in terms of raw material but didn't diminish their appeal to collectors, who value coins for their rarity, quality, and historical significance. So why does the 1991 Roosevelt dime stand out among other coins in this series? The answer lies in its rarity, condition, and the potential for minting errors. While the Mint produced millions of these dimes in 1991, very few have been preserved in pristine condition. Most coins that were circulated show signs of wear, fading details, and discoloration. However, finding one in near-perfect or uncirculated condition is a real treasure, and it's those coins that could be worth far more than face value. For a coin to be considered uncirculated, it needs to show no signs of wear or damage. The design must be sharp and clear, with no scratches or smudges. If you've got a 1991 Roosevelt dime that's been carefully stored and well preserved, you're sitting on a potential goldmine. These coins are highly coveted by collectors, and their value can increase significantly with proper preservation, but there's another factor that can drastically raise the value of a coin: minting errors. Minting errors are rare mistakes that happen during the coin-making process, and they can make a coin exceptionally valuable. These errors can take many forms, such as double strikes, misaligned dies, off-center strikes, or even missing details. Error coins are highly sought after because they are one-of-a-kind pieces that stand out from the rest. For the 1991 Roosevelt dime, some error varieties could include double strikes where the coin was struck twice, creating overlapping images, or misaligned dies, where the design wasn't properly centered. These errors make the coin unique, and collectors are willing to pay a premium for them. If you happen to have a 1991 Roosevelt dime with one of these rare errors, you might have something that could fetch a price much higher than you'd expect. Now, let's talk about the value of the 1991 Roosevelt dime. While the typical circulated coin may only be worth a few cents above face value, it's the uncirculated specimens and error coins that command the highest prices. If you have a well-preserved 1991 Roosevelt dime, or better yet, one with a rare minting error, you could be looking at a coin worth thousands of dollars. Here's where it gets exciting. A 1991 Roosevelt dime in perfect condition or with a significant minting error has been known to sell for as much as $30,000. Yes, you heard that right, $30,000 for a single dime. Now, you might be wondering how such a small coin could be worth so much. The answer is rarity and demand. Uncirculated coins, especially those with minting errors, are incredibly rare. Collectors are always on the lookout for the highest quality examples, and when a coin like this comes to market, it can fetch top dollar. If you're unsure whether your 1991 Roosevelt dime might be worth something special, take a close look at its condition. Does it have any signs of wear, or is it as sharp and crisp as the day it was minted? Check for any minting errors too. Look for anything unusual in the design, double strikes, off-center strikes, or even small variations in the lettering. These could all be signs that your coin is more than just a regular dime. If you suspect that your coin might be worth more than face value, consider getting it graded by a professional numismatist. A certified coin grader will be able to assess its condition and authenticity, and they'll give you a more accurate estimate of its value. Having your coin graded also makes it more attractive to potential buyers if you decide to sell it, as collectors always look for coins that are properly authenticated and graded. In conclusion, while the 1991 Roosevelt dime may seem like just another coin from a regular minting year, it has the potential to be worth a lot more than its 10-cent face value. If you're lucky enough to have one in excellent condition or, better yet, one with a rare minting error, your coin could be worth as much as $30,000. So, next time you're flipping through your coin collection or checking your spare change, take a moment to examine those dimes. You might just have a hidden treasure on your hands. Thanks for watching today's video. If you found this information helpful and want to keep learning more about rare and valuable coins, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on any future discoveries. Keep hunting for those hidden gems, and I'll see you in the next video. Happy collecting!